St. Paul, Minnesota has a storied history of gangster activity, particularly during the Prohibition era of 1920 to 1933, and a little bit beyond. Its reputation as a haven for infamous criminals stemmed from the so-called O'Connor system.
Oh my God, I read about this.
Yeah, this is...
I kind of love it.
This is buck.
Yeah.
So the O'Connor system, named after Police Chief John J. O'Connor, who was chief in St. Paul from 1900 to 1920, so he had a long career, established an informal, like not on paper,
but like everyone knew about it.
Everyone knew about it. System that allowed criminals to live in St. Paul without fear of arrest, provided they follow 3 rules. 1, they had to check in with the police when they got in. So if you're a criminal moving to St. Paul to take advantage of the O'Connor system, the cops have to know that you're there.
Yep.
2, they are forbidden from committing crimes in St. Paul. Only St. Paul City
Go to
limits.
Falcon Heights.
Basically. And 3, they had to agree to pay bribes to city officials to maintain the structure of the system. So this is from MinnPost. Quote, after becoming police chief, O'Connor reorganized the police force and gave himself nearly absolute power. Funny how history repeats itself.
Yeah, no shit.
He then reached out to criminals throughout the Midwest. So he spread the word.
He created a system and was like, I'm going to make so much fucking money off of this.
So much money. So much money. So he's like, phone a friend.
Pass the word.
Pass it on. He lets them know that St. Paul is a safe place for them. We're a sanctuary city.
Seriously.
He promised that the police would disregard offenders who performed their deeds beyond St. Paul, as long as they remained law-abiding while in the city.
This makes sense, honestly.
It sure does. To accomplish this plan, O'Connor required a liaison from within the criminal ranks to keep an eye on his peers. William Reddy Griffin was the first keeper of O'Connor's system. After arriving in town and meeting with the police, criminals stopped to check in with Griffin at the Hotel Savoy in downtown St. Paul.
So Griffin was like
he was a cop,
but he was an undercover criminal.
He was not a cop. He was a known criminal who was working for the cops, and everyone knew that he was working for the cops because he was the liaison intermediary between the cops who established the system and told all their criminal friends.
Okay.
So this was like an open secret. Everybody knew that this was a thing. And this guy, so it was funny. Like, then the police are like, hey, we should get someone on the inside that people know about and respect to be like a heavy for the cops, basically.
Okay.
That like he's going to speak their language and he's going to keep them in check. And if they fuck up and they do shit in St. Paul that they shouldn't be doing, he's going to rat. And
you're not out there expecting criminals to like go to the police station and be like, I'm a criminal. I live here now.
Yeah, there has to be an easier point person, and that was Reddy Griffin.
Okay.
So among his many duties, Griffin collected bribes and brought the money to O'Connor. When Griffin died of apoplexy, which I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up. It's basically a stroke. Cerebrovascular disease.
Cerebrovascular.
Mm-hmm. He died of apoplexy in 1913 at the age of 65, and Dapper Dan Hogan took over his role.
Okay.
It doesn't take long for the criminal rumor mill started by a cop to inform top-tier folks that St. Paul is the safe place to camp out as long as your crimes aren't committed there. So the O'Connor system lured the likes of John Dillinger, one of America's most notorious bank robbers. Dillinger frequently hid out in St. Paul. He and his gang used the city as a hideout, taking advantage of the O'Connor system. In 1934, Dillinger narrowly escaped capture at the Lincoln Court Apartments in St. Paul, where he was hiding with his girlfriend, Evelyn Frischette. This will be important to my actual case. Ma Barker and the Barker Karpis gang.
The Barker Karpus Gang.
The Barker Karpus Gang. The Barker Karpus Gang, led by Ma Barker, a woman, and Alvin Karpus, who went by Creepy, a man, was among the...
I'm a man. They call me Creepy.
Creepy. That tracks.
No.
Yes. Every man could easily use that nickname.
Yes.
Every
they do
man.
call you Creepy.
They sure do. So Barker and Creepy, Albus Creepy, Alvin Karpus was among the most infamous. This gang was among the most infamous groups to exploit St. Paul's criminal-friendly environment. They conducted bank robberies and kidnappings while using St. Paul as their operational base in the early 1930s. Their 1933 kidnapping of, who we will get to, wealthy St. Paul brewery owner William Ham Jr., as well as banker Edward Bremer, there's still Bremer banks in the Twin Cities, brought national attention to the city's gangster problem. And Creepy Karpus was a core member of the banker Karpus gang and became public enemy number one. He was one of the last prominent gangsters to be allowed to exploit St. Paul before federal crackdowns in the mid-1930s as a direct result of these kidnappings, which we're going to go over in more detail. Babyface Nelson, who truly did have a baby face. I put pictures of these people on the drive. So
Babier than the Apostle Paul?
Yes, because he looks a little less like rode hard and put away wet and fully busted. So he has like kind of swooping hair and a very round face and sticky outy ears. And there's a picture of him in a suit and tie.
Oh, he's adorable.
No hat, but he definitely has a baby face. Like, I don't know if that man is 40 or 14.
Oh, he's got his cleft chin.
Yeah.
Wait, are we looking at the two side by side?
No. It's a
or
single
the one that
picture.
looks like a 6-year-old child.
Correct. Single picture, no top hat, black and white.
Truly looks like a child.
Yeah.
That man will get carded until his dying
He
day.
dies. Well, and he's definitely long dead, but
wow.
He was known for his violent tendencies, which is very creepy given his name is Babyface.
Yeah, no shit.
He worked closely with the Dillinger Gang and operated in St. Paul. He was often on the run and used the city as a refuge. Machine Gun Kelly, and no, not that Machine Gun Kelly, who I also put on the drive for you, and I feel it is important to share, reminds me of a Lisa Frank drawing on meth.
Okay, so I once had, oh my God. No!
So, I didn't understand what Machine Gun Kelly's deal was, why he was famous. I knew he was married to Megan Fox. I didn't know his deal at all.
Is he a rapper?
And he's in a band. He's not a rapper. He's a musician. And I don't think I clocked that until looking up his picture to plop on the drive.
You just
didn't
know, or you didn't wonder?
I didn't know or wonder. Anything I know about Machine Gun Kelly has been forced upon me unwillingly. I have never sought out information on this person.
So I once had an erotic dream about Machine Gun Kelly, and I told my lying friend Ben about it.
God damn it, Ben. You cannot be trusted.
But this was 2 years ago? And somehow Machine Gun Kelly came up last week, and he's like, oh yeah, you
still
like
get
him.
hot in your
and
dreams?
I was like, what? I didn't remember. And I'm like, why are you
What are you
on to
talking
this?
about? And why are you spot on?
And why are you reminding me of an erotic dream I had? First of all, I have had more erotic dreams about Miley Cyrus than Machine Gun Kelly. Do not hold this
1000%.
guy against me.
No. We can't control our dreams.
No.
And I refuse to take responsibility for anything that I have said or done in a dream.
I have been practicing lucid dreaming. Speaking of controlling
How's it going?
dreams. It was great because last night I had another erotic dream.
About who?
No one in particular. It was I was in a hotel in Chicago and I was waiting for him to arrive.
A faceless, nameless man.
But he was of South Asian, Southwest Asian descent.
Okay. That's
And it
all
was-
you know.
Don't need to know anymore. It was a good time.
Okay.
Took place in a hotel.
You love a good, clean hotel.
But the lucid dreaming part, because sometimes you have those dreams and sometimes a thought creeps into my dream like, but wait, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
And then it's
lucid
like,
dreaming
oh, shit,
is
I'm
like,
dreaming.
no, bitch, I'm dreaming. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, push harder.
Yeah.
Do more kinky shit.
Uh-huh. This is your past. You're
With
dreaming.
your nameless, faceless lover. That's perfect.
He wasn't faceless, but he just didn't have any kind of like specific identity.
Yeah, faceless in the sense that he's not an actual person that you know or can connect to.
He was a great
The safest
kisser.
lover is the dream lover.
Yes, dream lover.
Dream lover. So yeah, different Machine Gun Kelly, who was another Prohibition-era gangster, and he passed through St. Paul while engaging in bootlegging, kidnappings, and robberies. Like others, he benefited from the city's safe harbor policies. Sorry, this hams makes me burp.
Yeah, I gave up.
I finished it.
I'm really proud of you. I have
you.
29 3/4 more to get
No,
through.
Corey has 29 3/4 more to get through.
Okay.
You're not, that's
off
not
the hook.
happening. Yeah, you're done. According to historian Paul Maccabee, John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, any gangster could come to St. Paul as long as they were on their good behavior. They could go to Minneapolis and kill whoever they wanted to. They could go to Iowa and rob a bank. But when they came to St. Paul, they had to be on their best behavior. The decline of the gangster era in St. Paul was brought on by the downfall of the O'Connor system. By the late 1930s, public outrage over high-profile kidnappings, robberies, and corruption led to a federal crackdown on organized crime in St. Paul. And J. Edgar Hoover's FBI targeted the city's criminal activities. Alvin Karpis was enemy number one and was captured in 1936, marking the beginning of the end for St. Paul's gangster era. So let's go deeper into the case that brought down the O'Connor system once and for all.
So, like the feds were like, okay, there's a lot of crime happening around the upper Midwest. Let's look into it. Oh, wait, this open secret in St. Paul. Like,
Nope.
that's kind of how that, okay.
The feds didn't give a shit about this open secret in St. Paul.
Oh, great.
We will get to why they got involved.
Okay.
So if you are a true Minnesotan, you fuck with Ham's beer, today's pairing. And the kidnapping of William Ham Jr., heir to the Ham's Brewery fortune, was a sensational crime that unfolded during the era of organized crime in the United States, carried out by the Barker Karpis Gang, a notorious group of criminals active during the Great Depression. And I don't know what loopholes or what maybe they were producing in the interim, but like they were able to continue functioning as hams during Prohibition. So I don't know if that was they were making something else.
Well, some of them just
They
like,
managed to stay open or were like allowed because of earlier standing to continue, but
so I don't know this, but at least with the in the beer industry that runs in my family lineage, during Prohibition, because they had all that clean, fresh water, they made ice and sold
there you go.
ice. So
there you go. Could have been something like that.
So at least that would be enough business to like keep them alive through
Yeah,
it.
you just switch gears until this whole thing blows over.
Exactly.
On June 15th, 1933, so at this point, Prohibition was ending and Hams was getting back into beer production. William Ham Jr., then president of the Ham Brewing Company in St. Paul, was abducted in broad daylight while walking to his office after lunch.
Scary.
4 armed men led by Creepy Karpis and the Barker brothers, Fred Barker and Doc Barker, forced Ham at gunpoint into a waiting car and sped away. The gang had meticulously planned the abduction, relying on their connections in St. Paul's criminal underworld. So, like, they knew where he would be and when. They had been keeping an eye on him. They knew, like, okay, this is when he goes to lunch. He goes by himself. He'll be walking back to the office at this time. It's a quieter street. He'll be unattended. That's our opportunity. And they took it.
This reminds me of the Coors abduction.
Yup. Because they couldn't keep him in St. Paul, they'd already breached O'Connor system rules by kidnapping him in St. Paul. They can't also hold him hostage in St. Paul and double breach the rules.
Double? It's not a double negative.
Nope, they don't cancel out.
It compounds.
They took him to a remote hideout in Bensonville, Illinois, where he was blindfolded and forced to write ransom letters so that the recipients knew he was alive, as they would be in his handwriting. The gang demanded a payment of $100,000, equivalent to over $2 million today. They threatened to kill Ham if the ransom wasn't paid, and were like, no cops, no cops, no cops. The Ham family complied. They delivered the money through trusted intermediaries and followed instructions not to tell the police. Once the ransom was paid, Ham was released unharmed on June 19th, 1933. So he was only captured for 4 days. The gang's detailed planning had paid off, and they successfully evaded capture initially. So this is from NPR. Folks in St. Paul didn't mind for a while. They bragged about rubbing elbows with famous gangsters, but Ham's kidnapping shook St. Paul, and cracks began to show in the O'Connor system. Quote, in 4 days, the ransom was paid and the Barker Karpis gang got away with it.
So they're going to do it again.
The money has never been recovered. This is from Maccabee, the historian guy.
Someone's going to do it again.
Ham was released unharmed and, quote, needless to say, the wealthy people, the people in the mansions on Summit Avenue, were terrified that they would be next.
Yeah.
This is where that motherfucker J. Edgar Hoover steps in, because rich white people are scared, so they take it up the ladder, and higher level systems will get involved.
Yeah, okay.
If they hadn't complained, the FBI wouldn't have given a fuck about St. Paul in general.
Mm-hmm.
This was just something that these
bunch of
rich
bank
people,
robberies in Iowa.
Yep, could be like, crime is now rampant because it might affect me, even though this has been going on for fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
And we need you to get involved. So the FBI, then known as the Bureau of Investigation, became heavily involved in the case. And, fun fact, it was one of the first major cases where forensic science played a crucial role, because fingerprinting was still in its infancy, like latent fingerprint evidence.
Oh.
And they used that by dusting for fingerprints on the ransom notes to identify not only Ham, but members of the Barker Karpis gang who had been in and out of prison already, and their fingerprints had been taken. So they were like, and they're in this area, we're going to cross-check against them. And I mean, they don't have like the systems that we have now, but they had some of these prints on file. The fingerprints on the ransom notes were matched to Creepy Karpis, Fred Barker, and Doc Barker, helping authorities connect the gang to the crime. Again, this marked one of the earliest uses of fingerprint analysis in a high-profile federal case. But while this investigation was still underway and no arrests had yet been made, the same gang would kidnap wealthy banker Edward Bremer Jr., heir to the Schmidt Brewery fortune. Clearly, the Barker Karpis gang had a type.
No shit. They probably did do the Coors abduction.
Maybe, because we still don't know. Was it around that same time in the 30s?
I think so.
It would have had to have happened in that time frame, because this does not end with them free.
Oh, 60s.
Okay, so it wasn't them. But maybe they were inspired. Who knows? Similarly to Ham, on January 17th, 1934, so only a handful of months, they kidnapped William Ham, and they got a handful in June. And then they went back for seconds with Bremer in January.
Damn.
He was kidnapped in broad daylight on the streets of St. Paul while he was on his way to work. He was taken to the same Bensonville, Illinois hideout. He was kept in a small room and was told that his family would be killed if he said anything to the police, because they're going to have him write these letters. So they're like, don't try anything weird. Like, make sure your family knows not to go to the cops, because we'll fucking kill you and them if they do. He was told to provide the names of people who could act as intermediaries for delivering the money, just like Ham was. Messages demanding $200,000, which would have been over, $3 million if 100,000 was over. No, $4 million. If 100,000 was over $2 million, were left with the Bremers' trusted business associate and former chauffeur, a man named Walter McGee. The gang learned soon after that McGee had informed the police, and these kidnappers threatened to kill McGee and kill Bremer.
Oh.
And Adolf Bremer, the victim, Edward's father, refused to pay up unless the kidnappers provided proof of life.
There was
So just-
Adolf. All the Coorses were Adolfs too.
I know, it's so weird.
There's no
Well, but-
excuse.
But it's German beer makers. They're all fucking German immigrants and descendants
yeah.
of German immigrants. So that's
And
why.
at least these guys are before.
Yeah, the rise,
Adolf
the
Hitler.
meteoric rise of Hitler. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, and also I do get it around this time, but like, hopefully that has gone out of fashion.
The Coors guy, though,
That was
he
later.
was like the fourth, and it was
yeah,
after Hitler.
it's like y'all let it go.
Let it go.
So Adolf Bremer refuses to pay unless he has proof of life. So they're like, okay, write another letter and plead to be returned to your wife and children. So he did. When Adolf also tried to negotiate for a lower ransom, this is like
Oh
so
my god.
like, tell me you have daddy issues without telling me you have daddy issues. You've gotten 3 fucking letters from your son, one of which is like, they're gonna kill me. Please let me come home. And dad is like, yeah. I just want to do a couple more rounds of negotiations because this is a lot of fucking money.
Let's see where each other's bottom line is.
Yeah, hold on.
Don't accept the first offer.
Never accept the first offer. So he tries to reduce the random money, and this all pisses off Fred Barker so much
Yeah.
that he's like, let's just fucking kill Edward. This guy's not fucking worth it. His dad's an asshole. They've gone to the cops. He's trying to negotiate a lower ransom. This is the worst.
Isn't that what happened with the Hearst guy too?
I don't remember.
The William Randolph Hearst, like the newspaper guy, like his grandson got abducted or kidnapped.
He was like, I'm not paying all that.
He just didn't pay,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Yeah.
just returned the. I think they cut off like one of his fingers or something.
And just sent him
but
back.
the grandpa was like, "Fuck you, no."
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, that's my next drunk dive.
Please. That is incredible. I mean, only because the kid was alive.
Well, yeah, I mean, the
He came
grandpa
back
was just
mostly
a
unarmed.
fucking prick.
Yes, that
He
guy
was a
sounds like a
psychopathic
dick.
early 20th century businessman
Like millionaire.
in a mansion in California, like on the coast.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I'm not paying.
No, I'm not.
No.
You're crazy. No.
Kill him. See what I fucking care.
But they took him to like Afghanistan. Like he was on like a dark
Jesus.
site. Yeah. Okay. Drunk dive.
Yes, please. I need more of this. This is
Okay.
fucking wild.
It's so dumb.
Fortunately, in this case, Fred's brother Arthur, as well as Arthur Barker and Creepy Carpus, were like, no, we want money. We don't want to be fucking cold-blooded murderers.
Then you gotta
We
like
will-
get rid of the body and all that
Yeah,
shit.
that's going to be too messy. In the end, the ransom was paid. I'm not sure if it was the full 200 or if they did negotiate a lower
They
price.
got him down a little bit.
Got him down a little bit. I don't know. It was paid by dropping off a bag full of cash, which was collected by the trusted intermediary as directed. Edward was then driven to a deserted road and released on February 7th, left with only a small amount of cash and had to make his own way back home. Poor
It's like
fucking
when you
guy.
get out of prison, you only have like your wallet that you went in with.
Yeah.
And like
then
maybe
hopefully
a
someone
bus
picks you up.
ticket voucher.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's basically what they did for
That
this
you've
poor
spent
bastard.
the last 10 years like earning 2 cents an hour working towards.
And he was, I mean, this guy was held for almost a month in that like gross hideaway, and they just dumped him on the side of the road after his dad tried to negotiate down his ransom, gave him like $5. And we're like, good luck. You're alive. We did our part.
He tries to like call him collect for a ride. The dad just doesn't
Okay, it's
answer.
1934.
I know, but the dad would be like, no.
He's hitchhiking. Like, what are you going to do? Anyway,
Walk.
I just thought that was like
Start walking.
fucking ice cold. I was like, I can't believe this detail. This is fucking crazy. So after Ham and now Bremer, 2 elite St. Paul wealthy dudes are kidnapped. This is when the neighborhood is just not in my backyard.
A
What am I
buzz.
next? Yeah, they're fucking losing it. Things really started to fall apart with the O'Connor system because they're like, the families are like, wait, this could be bad. This was really fun, but I don't think I'm on board with this anymore.
It was funny
Now
for
that
a
my
while.
life is threatened. Quote, 10 families from St. Paul hired a private detective. He wiretapped the St. Paul Police Department. This is, again, according to that historian Maccabee. It had the cops talking to the crooks on tape, as it were, that was published in the St. Paul Daily News. And the embarrassment, the humiliation in St. Paul that they tolerated the crooks caused a clean house in St. Paul. I think it's less the embarrassment and more the, oh no, now this might affect me. It used to be cool and fun and it's not cool and fun anymore.
Absolutely.
We have to fucking shut this down.
Yeah, because I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. But it certainly was a collective embarrassment because other cities that were not aware of this practice were like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, what? Y'all are crazy.
We can do that?
We could have done that? These kidnappings brought significant attention to the Barker Karpis gang, making them one of the most wanted criminal organizations in the country. Wealthy St. Paul elite wanted to make an example of them to send a message to all the other gangsters using St. Paul as a safe haven that their bullshit would no longer be tolerated. The Barker Karpis gang's eventual downfall came through a combination of arrests and deadly confrontations with law enforcement that actually ended up killing Fred Barker, one of the brothers. Creepy Karpis was captured in 1936 and became the last of the FBI's public enemy number one figures to be apprehended at that time. He spent decades in Alcatraz before being released in 1969. Doc Barker, the other Barker brother, was also apprehended alive and sent to Alcatraz, which I kept reading as Azkaban.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's basically the same thing. Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.